paying job. With a good paying job, most folks have the time and the resources to take care of themselves, their families, and address the difficulties that sometimes arise in life. I appreciate that this legislation promotes the value of our workforce and focuses on the improvements to the apprenticeship programs, digital literacy programs, and summer job programs for our youth.
As gas prices continue to rise, both Democrats and Republican lawmakers have officially proposed a new relief plan that would actually send out extra financial aid to people. $300 monthly checks could begin to be sent out as soon as next month, so you want to be sure to watch until the end of the video to find out if you're eligible for the stimulus check. New price records have also been set across the US for fuel since the crisis began. Most recently, a new barrier has been reached. The price of a gallon of gasoline is at least $4 in every state in the United States. And according to AAA, prices have been rising since the turn of the year. The average price for a gallon of fuel was $3.28 in January, while the national average has been greater than $4 since March.
For that warm welcome you've given me here in Japan. In recent years, the alliance between Japan and the United States has grown stronger, deeper, and more capable as we work together to take on the challenges just as important as the opportunities of a rapidly changing world. A great example of this, we viewed Japan's lunar rover just coming out here before, after lunch. A symbol of how our space cooperation is taking off, looking toward the moon and to Mars. And I'm excited the work we'll do together on the Gateway Station around the moon, and look forward to the first Japanese astronaut joining us in the mission to the lunar surface under the Artemis program. And tomorrow we're going to meet with our fellow Quad partners, Australia and India, for our 4th Leaders Summit and our 2nd time meeting together in person. The Quad is showing the world that cooperation among democracies can get big things done, and I'm grateful for your leadership.
There were 3 Midwestern states that were under $4 a gallon: Georgia, Kansas, and Oklahoma. With price rises on Tuesday, these 3 are over to March. Some drivers, like those in California, are paying over $6 for a gallon. The state has already proposed measures to help consumers by giving drivers a $400 payment to keep their car on the road. With U.S. infrastructure tailored to driving a car everywhere, the rise in fuel prices is to affect nearly every person. This will lead to a reduction in spending on other items, as people are forced to cut back. Though other essentials are also being affected by inflation or shortages. The April Consumer Price Index, which measures changes in the cost of food, housing, gas, utilities, and other goods, rose by 8.3% over the past 12 months. Standard household purchases continue to be significantly more expensive than a year ago. The price of food increased 9.4%, the largest 12-month increase since April 1981. There has been an increase in the cost of food, fuel, and vehicles. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows gasoline alone is up nearly 44%, and energy prices are up 30% over last year. Used vehicle prices are also up nearly 23% of the year, and new vehicle prices have risen 13%. Now, the Federal Reserve and experts believe inflation is more temporary than long-term. Dean Baker, an economist, told Yahoo News, once the supply chain issues are worked out, in a lot of cases, these prices will actually drop. Despite inflation hitting a 40-year high in January, several items have actually gotten cheaper over the last year. Prices dropped for more than a dozen goods and services from January 2021 to January 2022. There is another relief plan that has been proposed. Utah Senator Mitt Romney's Family Security Act is very similar to what the expanded child tax credit was, offering families that are eligible with children up to 5 years old $350 a month, while children 6 to 17 would get $250. In comparison, the child tax credit initiated in the American Rescue Plan gave families $300 a month for children under 6 and $250 per month for children 6 to 17. Perhaps the greatest difference between Romney's plans and those originally proposed by the Biden administration is that Romney's plan will likely work. It's likely to have a work situation included. This is in the form of a work requirement program that usually require benefit recipients to work, volunteer, or train for 80 hours a month.
Thank you, and I yield back. The gentleman yields, the gentleman reserves, and the gentlewoman from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman's recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In FY 2021, taxpayers spent about $1.8 billion on adult dislocated worker and youth activities under Title I of WIOA. According to the Department of Labor, only $537 million, or less than 30% of that money, went toward, quote, training services, end quote. Most people assume that our nation's workforce development system is primarily focused on providing workers the skills they need to be successful in the modern economy. Unfortunately, that's not accurate. Not surprisingly, with so little focus on actual skills development, the outcomes for these programs are poor. Among youth participants, less than 1/4 exited the program with employment in an occupation related to the services they receive from the system. Among adults and dislocated workers, a little more than 1/3 exited with employment related to their program. Republicans would like to address these shortcomings and believe this reauthorization presents an opportunity to do that. The Republican proposal we offered during committee and to the Rules Committee increases the percentage of funding going toward skills development. We propose reforms to bring more employers to the table and engage more employers in the workforce system. Unfortunately, the Democrats' bill rejects those proposals and instead would actually make these problems worse. As a result of provisions in H.R. 7309, an even smaller portion of WIOA funding will be directed towards skill development. The bill will also dilute employers' involvement in state and local
Experience for 15 years as someone who helped upskill people. I worked very closely with the workforce development in order to find jobs for people who were sitting across the table from me trying to make ends meet. This investment gives them hope and promise. It also absolutely addresses what all employers and all small businesses are looking for, a ready, skilled workforce in order to be able to get into the market quickly. Also, when it comes to labor unions, I want to emphasize the investment in labor unions. What they provide for my community in Indiana's 1st District is livable wages, health care benefits that are affordable, safer workplace, and also a secure retirement. And also, when it comes to the prevailing wage, that prevailing wage sets a wage that allows for all programs and all development in my district that is something that is sacred, that allows